Hi everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a review on the first two episodes of the Percy Jackson series. I am so excited from reading this back when I was in middle school and now watching it as a 26-year-old adult and having this beautiful depiction of the series that I love on the screen at last. I'm just so incredibly thrilled. I'm not going to spend time talking about the movies because I've already expressed how I feel about that on here. And there's no reason to talk about that. This is going to be a review based on the TV series. If you want to see my opinions on the movies, it's another Percy Jackson-esque videos. And yeah, this is gonna be kept happy, and we're not gonna dwell on that. So I'm gonna try to do a spoiler-free review because I usually just jump right into it. So I'm gonna do that first. And then I'm going to start talking about stuff that actually happened more in depth and spoil it for you guys. So stay for this section. And then the next section, if you haven't seen it, go see it. So it's pretty accurate to the book if you've read the book. If not, I'm not going to spoil the book in any way. I think that in Riordan working so closely with the script and making sure that it is completely his vision makes me feel better about certain things that I might not have liked 100% or might have questions about. So I'm going to trust the process. I think that it's very kid friendly. I think that it definitely feels like we are in Percy's world. Nothing really feels like it's not from the book. We see many of the same characters, same stories, and every actor that they casted is within the age that they're supposed to be from the actual books. So we don't get, someone that's older playing a younger character, per se, and it's per se. Percy. Anyway, I think that was something that Rick really wanted. He wanted kids to play kids. So great to see these characters grow up on screen, and it's going to feel very Harry Potter-esque in that way and very natural, and it just is very visually beautiful. The colors, the way that everything just feels like it's from the book, part of this world, nothing feels detached. And how they paid so much attention to the little details, I think is great. Rick cameoing in one of the scenes was awesome. And I'm not going to say which scene, but that was really great. I love it when authors do that. And it's such a very quiet, small part, but it made my day. They paid attention to like the smallest details. Like if you read the book and like you were looking somewhere else in a scene, like maybe at the background or something on the side, you're gonna see something that you recognize. And I think that is something that's really beautiful, and it like just brings me back. And I think that even though the characters are a little different than they are from the book, I think they're interesting differences, and I would like to see where it goes, and I hope that it goes in the right direction because I really want to see this project like work, and I'm really excited. So that's all I got. We're getting into the spoily section of the video, so please go see the first two episodes, enjoy, and then come back. So I really liked it. I feel that they did change some things, and they did change some things about the characters, which I'm okay with for right now. I don't know exactly what it's going to mean down the line or how it's going to affect or impact their dynamics or these characters, and how they're going to be depicted. But so far, okay, all right. It's not too much of a change. Grover, I feel, is a little bit more not afraid to speak his mind. He's not very much a scaredy cat. He has opinions. He respects people, but is not afraid to challenge. And I kind of like that. But it is kind of a complete turnaround from the Grover that we're used to. Percy is also very knowledgeable about Greek mythology because of stories that his mom told him. And it's really different than the kind of like ignorant Percy that we're used to. Um, and he obviously sees things, and that is something that is not too much of a big thing in the books. It's kind of random, and it just like, oh, it's just my imagination. But here it's like he sees things, and it's like, oh no. And I I think that Annabeth is a little bit less confrontational, if that's possible, because she is pretty confrontational, but like less so, and has a little bit more heart to her, which is interesting. And then again, like they've added certain things, they've taken away certain things, they've changed certain things. They have many lines from the book, and it it can be cringy at times, it can work great at times. It just kind of all depends on the scene, and so far there are some cringy scenes, and there's some scenes that I feel they could have paid more attention to, and if they didn't include a line from the book, that would have been fine. But I see that we're really trying, but I do think that we should have there's these monumental scenes I think that are in the book that felt a little bit flat in the TV series, but then it is a TV series. And that is going to look very different. It's not the book, it's not a movie. Like they're not going to compact all this stuff in like one thing. And it's going to be spread out, and new stuff is going to happen, and other stuff is going to, not happen. But I feel like Rick is very much he has a plan for this, and I'm hoping it works out. But he's also thinking very much in like for the sake of the fans, like making it as actual to the book as possible, which I love that. But like I mentioned before, certain lines or certain scenes that were just kind of put in there for the sake of it because it was in the book, or to kind of like trigger that nostalgia, and it didn't really work out. Like it wasn't needed. But I mean, like, it still is cute. I mean, it's a very cute show. And there are scenes that are from the book that they added that I thought worked so great. But the second episode is literally named I Become Supreme Lord of the Bathroom. The second, or is it not the second? One of the chapters in the book, and that is like the least paid attention to moment really in the whole entirety of that episode. And it ends with him being claimed at after they capture the flag at the lake. And so I'm like, okay, like we could have probably called it something different. I mean, I appreciate that we're calling the names of the chapters, but if we're going to do that, let's make sure that these moments matter and maybe end it there, or maybe make it something bigger. Like there can be like many great scenes in an episode, and not have the other moments just lackluster and pay attention to like only certain scenes because there's so many great scenes, and that was a chapter in itself for a reason. So if we're gonna name it that, let's like pay attention to that. And if we're gonna add more from the like other parts of the book, like we'll focus on that too. But let's not forget why this is why this is named that. It just was really quick. He was in the bathroom. Clarice and her minions were there, and then water and they got wet, and like they basically tried to like shove his head in the toilet and everything. Like it's very accurate to the book, and that, but the whole water scene, like it just kind of they're wet. they ran away. Goodbye. It's just like, and then obviously you're reading it from his point of view in the book, and he's explaining like how he's feeling, like obviously there's this tug in his gut when, like, his powers are activated and everything. I kind of maybe wanted to see like some more expression on his face, like maybe he's like, interesting. Like, it was just kind of like, that's weird, how did that happen? So yeah, or just more emphasis put on it. The Mrs. Dodd scene as well, it just happened really quickly. We were out in the open for whatever reason. um she was talking to him through his head, which I think might happen at some, like, but she should have talked to him too. Like, it just kind of felt very whimsical, kind of like otherworldly, and that works, but it's also something that's very real and very grounded in his world. And so I kind of wanted like an even feeling of both. Like, I wanted the Fury to actually talk to him. Like, I didn't want it to feel like he was all in my head, because of course this kid's gonna think it's all in his head after, like, but then also it's like this really crazy event that he's just like, this is the craziest event I've ever witnessed. And he's like talking about it, but he still feels insane. Like, we are making Percy seem more insane than he probably should be in this series, but it's okay. We're gonna work through it, hopefully. I loved his mom and his relationship. They're just so cute. They're so sweet. I love that they include the blue candy. Um, I I really liked how they included the beads. And then the shirts are great. I already went to Hot Topic and bought mine. I don't understand why the Hot Topic version is in orange rather than black, but okay. And I think that the actors that they chose to play Mr. D, phenomenal. And that they chose to play Chiron was really good. Although he kind of has like this mean kind of edge to him. Like, he reminds me very much of Dumbledore in a weird way, which Chiron doesn't seem like a Dumbledore to me, but I don't know how it's gonna go. Him and Mr. D are really like on top of Grover, and poor Grover. And so I'm interested to see like if they get along more in this series, because they were just kind of playing cards and stuff. Like, I guess that's things that they do, but like they seem more like buddies, and I kind of want to see that, because I don't want to see them really hate each other. Like, I want to see a different side of that. And so yeah, I love that they chose the actor for Mr. D, for Chiron, for Sally. And I really liked who they chose to play Gabe. I don't hate Gabe, and I'm gonna get more into this because I recorded some live reactions of me watching it with my best friend. And so I do talk a little bit about this, so I don't want to kind of like talk about that too much right now. And I'll put that in here. But yeah, I really liked him. He was kind of great, and I loved him and Sally's reactions towards one another. They just, it worked, and I don't like that it worked because I'm supposed to hate him. But anyway, and so phenomenal choices. And I'm excited for what's to come. With Limited Miranda is coming. Oh my god, please be good, please be good. Oh my goodness, and your Hermes. Oh my goodness, like, this is, if you could play a god in this series, I think Hermes is a pretty good one for the Lightning Thief series, just because it's like, it's Luke's dad. It's like, you are the reason this kid is having a temper tantrum and this is all happening. I think that the actor that they chose to play Luke, I want to see more facial expressions. I want to see more emotions. He's very one dimensional. And I want to see more from him, and I, especially with like all the stuff with Kronos that's going to be coming up, and all the duality that's going to be happening in this kid's mind, and he's a kid, like, I need to see more. So I'm hoping for that. And then going back to Sally, she's beautiful, and like, she I love that scene where she's outside and just soaking up the rain. Like, I imagine Sally very hippie like, very like whimsical, and like it just everything that I expected from her. And her yelling at Gabe and like being like wet hair just coming out of the rain and just like not a care in the world is just so strong and sure footed. Like, but also like dealing with like having to tell her son all this stuff about who he is. And knowing that there's a chance that he might get hurt, because of it. And especially that scene with the Minotaur. Oh my goodness, the scene with the Minotaur. I'm not gonna. I have clips. But like her, you know, dissipating into dust and everything, and knowing that she might possibly pass and not see Percy again. Like, oh my goodness, she just did a phenomenal job. That actress. And I I can't wait till the end of the season. And Percy has even like the actor who's played Percy, like has grown into this role a little bit more, and Percy as an individual has grown into being a demigod, and like how that is going to be like portrayed, and then like the mom scene, that I think it's going to be really great. And then Luke's whole thing about Glory was kind of just like cringy. I don't remember if that was in the book, but it just kind of was weird, and things were either underexplained or overexplained sometimes. And I feel like when it comes to Greek mythology and like how Rick wrote it and chose Percy to be a certain way, like I said, like there just seemed to be a reason for that. Because we as the audience, like, and then we know the book a certain way, and you're adding these new things, and it's like, please find some way to explain it to us because I don't know what's going on here. Because I know it one way, or I don't know this, or like please. And also like the whole scene with like Annabeth, like watching him and everything. They talked about that like 3 4 different times. So I don't know. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see the Oracle scene when it comes out. That's gonna be great. The whole like underworld scene too, and like they're getting mad at Grover, and then like it just there was too much there and not enough there as well, where I got kind of confused, and I know what it's supposed to be, but then they also added new stuff, and I'm just like, okay, sure, yeah. Like having like already the leather band for the necklace, I think is a really cute touch. And I'm excited to see his beads start popping on there as the series progresses, and we get more seasons. Mentioned before, Rick showed up in a clip, and that was a scene where like he was being expelled from Yancey Academy, and Grover's over here like snitching on it. I'm like, no! And I can't remember if that happened in the book or not, but I'm like, no, this is so sad. And like I said, back to the Mrs. Dodds scene, like I wanted like Grover and Chiron to both be there 1 second and then be gone, and it's like, here's the pen, and then oh my goodness, Riptide was beautiful. The Minotaur scene was beautiful. So many things. I could go into so much detail about this. But yeah. And certain things I think had to be taken out. I'm not going to touch too much on this, but Grover is supposed to be like portrayed as disabled. And I think for certain reasons that was cut out. And so like the mist kind of covers his legs now. Which, it makes me a little sad that's not like the Grover that we're used to, but I understand for reasons like, that was taken out. If those were the reasons. I loved seeing Annabeth with her hat, and like Percy just being really dorky and really nerdy. And it's like it's current too, because he was like flossing at one point, and I was just like, okay, I'll accept it because it's current, it's fine. I think like honestly, like Walker like improvised in those scenes, but he did such a great job. Very quirky. So you see like certain aspects of their characters that are still there. So I want to see what these differences are gonna do for their characters. But so far, I think it might work. Um, and I'm just really super excited to see where this series goes, and I'm really, really hoping that they continue it because obviously Rick put his heart and soul into this. And like I loved Nancy and Clarice, like the actresses that they chose for those two girls, are really great. I'm eager to see who they eventually cast as Rachel. Like, there's so many things that I see potential for, and I'm excited. And there's also things that I'm just like, I'm hoping they work out. And they also have like scenes at the end of like the credits where it's like, oh, and then next time I'm Percy Jackson, and just like shows like stuff that's happening after. And the next one is supposed to be like Medusa, and she's like, I am Medusa, and I'm like, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to fight them, and then they kind of figure it out. And I think that's pretty quick, but I don't know. Again, TV series. It worked for the Shadowhunter series. It was really good, and yet it got canceled. So I don't know. Keeping my hopes up. But there's just so many things that I did really like about this series. And this video is going to be a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. And I'm just going to put some clips of my reactions, my real-time reactions. And I thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye. I'm Amber. This is my best friend, Jordan, and you all know Mia. We just finished watching the first episode of the Percy Jackson series. How do you think it went?
It was so far pretty outstanding.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It was so good, so good.
It's awesome.
There was moments where I was like, okay, it's a little cringy, but like we're trying to figure it out and like, you know, get set up in like this television, you know, type of way that they're telling it and stuff, and we need to add more. What are you doing? She's clearly very excited. We're about to watch a second one. What was your favorite part of the first one?
So far, one of my favorite parts was... Actually, I don't have a favorite part.
You don't have a favorite part?
It was all pretty awesome.
Come here, you want to come here too? Luna's here too. My favorite part was showing the reveal of Riptide. That was my favorite part.
Well, all right,
because
now.
Riptide was nothing like I imagined and everything that I wanted. So that was great. My least favorite part was probably the Miss Dodds scene so far. Because that happened too quickly. And
yeah, what happened too quickly?
It was like right there out in the open, like, which I guess kind of lended to like things later on, like them saying like, oh, like the mist and trying to explain the mist and everything.
It wasn't as dramatic.
It wasn't as dramatic. I wanted it to be more dramatic for sure. And then, yeah, that I actually kind of like Gabe. Yeah, his stepdad. He's kind of like
he actually was not.
He's not that bad. He's kind of likable. So those are my thoughts right now. We're about to start episode 2, and then we'll let you know.
What?
Yeah. Do you have a least favorite part so far? Things that you feel like they could have done better, or just that one, like me?
Yeah, just that one.
That was the one where I'm like, we could have done more. It's the second episode. What are we thinking?
It is really amazing.
It was a good
so
episode.
Far.
It was a good episode. Part you like the most? What's the part you like the most?
He discovered that his father is Poseidon. He realized his mother is alive.
Yeah.
And Annabeth was quite pretty.
My favorite part. I like the whole episode, but the capture the flag game was probably my favorite part. Like that was really well done. The bathroom scene was my least favorite part. That was not done well. Can you stop? At all. I mean, it just happened too fast. I think because it's in, you know, a television series, they have to like pick and choose their like main parts, but like it was such an epic part of the book, you know?
Yeah.
And it's what the episode is called, so I think it should have been more of a, you know, a thing. But yeah, and then obviously they're adding some things, they're changing some things, but it's still the book, so which I really appreciate.
Absolutely, same here.
But yeah, Grover, he's a little sneaker. He like, you know, he's usually like very shy and everything, and like in this one, he's just like, no, like, he needs to know. I don't care what you say, going against Chiron and Mr. D. Yeah, but he's still, like, really cute and, like, kind of shy, so it's like, yeah.
And Annabeth, so far as from what we've seen for a little bit, she's strong and willing to fight, and she's not She's actually not very mean to Percy. Clarice
She's not exactly how I expected, but
yeah,
she's still good.
Clarice
There's
is
a
the mean one, not Annabeth.
anyway, but no, there's some cringy moments for sure, and then I was talking to Jordan about this. There's like when they go to different scenes, they like black it out, which is a little annoying. But it's okay. Luke doesn't have very much emotion, but I think that kind of works for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we got so far. And I thought they were gonna release the whole season, but it was just the first 2 episodes. So I liked it so far. The second episode was by far my favorite.
Yeah, same here.
Even though there was a lot more, I think that I was critiquing in the second one because like I was like, that's different. That's this doesn't work. And so, but yeah, those are my thoughts.
And so far, it's off to a good start. And once we get episode 3, then we will be intrigued by some more.
Yeah, we're gonna go on our quest and everything. So I'm excited. So yeah,
Yeah.
bye bye.